Transforming your relationship. It's all about love, folks, communication, intimacy, so much more. Our topic today is the one which some out there can relate to, but they are determined that they're not gonna stay there. Something has to be done. If it is possible, as much that lieth within you, live peaceable with all men. That's a challenge, Paul, to live peaceable with all men. Now, you might not be able to live peaceable with everybody out there, but you have to try. He says, if it is all possible. So sometimes it's not going to be possible. But then again, now when you are in a relationship, when you are married, you have to put in every effort to live peaceable, because now this is not just with anybody. This is your wife that we're talking about here now. It said that 67% of second marriages end in divorce. That's a pretty high number. And 74% even of the third marriage end up in divorce. So there's a message in the statistics, for me anyway, is that fight for what you have. Unless you are living in an abusive relationship, then measures have to be taken, decisions have to be made. But if at all possible, live peaceable with all men. A couple of things I woke up with this morning, just thoughts on some things dealing with relationship. In Ecclesiastes 4:9-12, it says, two are better than one. Why? Because they have a good reward for their labor. For if they fall, the one will lift up his fellow. But woe to him that is alone when he fall, because he hath not anybody to help him up. But if two lie together, then they have heat. But how can one be warm alone? And if one prevail against him, two shall withstand him. And a threefold cord is not quickly broken. It's not just a matter of having a horizontal relationship, but I believe in the vertical intercepting with the horizontal, which means that God has got to be in the center of this all. We all stood at those who are married, we stood at the altar because we said, I do. We wanted to start a new life. We wanted to make these things work, this marriage work, this relationship that we're in. It took you a long time to get here. Now, you know what? It's going to be a challenge now to continue to walk together. Conflicts are going to come, disagreements are going to come, but it happens in every relationship. It's not just a bed of roses from day to day. There's going to be challenge, but those challenges, those conflicts that arise, they don't come to tear you apart specifically, but how can it make you stronger together? So our topic tonight or today is married and living like you're single. Now, some out there can relate. Some out there know exactly what I'm talking about, because you're probably living in a state like that. You're married, but you're living like you're single. The other part is making you feel like you're still single. In regard to our spiritual life, marriage, the purpose of it is to expand our knowledge, our awareness, to think about in our life, whereas to think about, we stop thinking about us, me now, but now we start thinking about we start thinking about somebody else. We start prioritizing the person now that has now become important to us. But when you're married but single, that doesn't even compute for some folks. How can you be married but still single? I know if you're single, you're not married, but to be married and living single, like the question is asked, so what's really going on there? Let's be real. Nobody get married to get a divorce. Many have said it's not an option, but individuals, they make their choice in life, rather right or wrong, to stay, whether to stay or whether to go. But newsflash here, folks, marriage is God's glory. Marriage is for God's glory and not yours. Your marriage is not just about you, but you are an example to those who are looking at your relationship. We all want a satisfying relationship. It's our duty to display to the world the faithfulness and the uniqueness, that love has brought us together, and that love that Christ has for the church. So we must also have that love for our spouse. Now, many have put so much effort into the day rather than having a vision for the future. Many are still living with a man with no vision for their life, no vision for the future. As one person would say, well-known individual, I would say, how is that working out for you? Because I hear of some, this individual, they have no vision for the future. They don't know what they want. and they're dying in that relationship because they want to move forward, but the head is supposed to be given direction, but the head is not fulfilling the function like they are supposed to. Many have put so much effort into the day, but then again, what about the future? What about after the day? What comes after the day? When you're married, you're supposed to be feeling like you are married. You're not supposed to be feeling like you are single. You were supposed to be feeling like you are married. That's why you came out of the single life to start a life together with somebody else. The Lord even posed a very important passage here in Deuteronomy 24:5. He put such high priority on marriage. And he says it in the Old Testament in Deuteronomy 24:5. It gives us an insight about this major transition that is taking place from a single life to a married life, which is so unlike any other. And he said, if a man has recently married, he must not be sent to war or have any other duty laid on him. Why? For 1 year, he is to be free to stay at home and to bring happiness to the wife that he has married. Imagine that. The Lord is saying back then, when you got married, even when you were in the army and you had other responsibilities, but you were to stay at home. Why? You're going to develop a connection that you never had before. You were single, but now you're married. You're prioritizing that individual that He has placed in your midst. It's not a time now for independence. It's a time now for connecting. It's a time now where the two become one in God's eyes. You now begin to work as a team. But for some, we're supposed to be working as a team, but why do I feel like I'm still single in this marriage? You know, if you want it to be for the other party that making you feel single because of their action, my question really is, if you wanted to be single, why did you even get married? Why did you embark on this journey here that's so special, that is so unique? If you want to be single, stay single. But when you're married, act like you're married and not like you're single. The dynamics change. You are married and you're feeling like you're still single. You're married, but the other party, what has happened is the other party has a single mindset. Why did you get married? You have a single mindset. It's the two now become one. And when you begin to develop a single mindset, you come into that state where you begin to feel so frustrated, you feel so miserable. The other party got what they wanted, but did they lose what you have? Or you got what you wanted, but did you lose? Did you lose what you have? God has got to be at the forefront of every relationship. We started off with Him. Let's continue to journey with Him. But somehow along the line, you're feeling married, but you're still single. Is it possible that you have left God in the back seat? Is it possible that we have gotten so busy that He's not a part of the plan anymore? But here are some thoughts as to what's happening and the symptoms that showed up. You're married, but you're feeling lonely. That's an individual. You're married, but you're feeling lonely and still feeling like you're single. I was lonely. I was a bit lonely before I got married, and now I'm still feeling lonely, even though I am married. Well, first of all, a person can be married, but lonely like they have never been married before. What's been going on there in your life? What was going on before? Did you have the right mindset even before you came into a relationship of that individual taking away that loneliness that you feel? I believe that before you even get there, that before the altar, there's need to be some self-development. There need to be some insight, some awareness before you step into this arena called marriage, because it can be trying, it can be challenging, but it's also something that's beautiful. You're married, but you're feeling like you're still single. You're feeling that abandonment in marriage, the feeling of the neglect. You're feeling left out. You're not being heard. That's an individual that's in a situation that they're probably saying in their mind, what in the world did I get myself into? an individual, they're so occupied with their own concern that they have ignored your concern. And this could be either for the husband or now either for the wife. So we're not putting the blame just on the man or putting the blame on the woman, but it could be either party here. So you decide where you're at right now with your relationship. If you're married and you're feeling single, you decide, what is causing this? What is happening right now? You got to have what I call present moment awareness. One has lost the interest of doing things together. Prior to, you used to do everything together. We used to talk about everything together. Now it seems like I'm being left out of a conversation that's so pivotal, that's so crucial to the relationship right now. And because of that, now I'm married, but I'm feeling like I'm still single. I was left out before. Now I'm in a relationship and I still feel like I'm left out. A person, you're leaving the house, but now you don't think that it's your business to let your wife or let your husband know your whereabouts. You come in 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. Well, honey, where have you been? Oh, I was out. No, you're married. Before you got married, you didn't have to explain to anybody what you were doing or where you were, whatever the case is, but you are married. You have a responsibility. You're accountable now to somebody else. It is her business or it is his business, about your whereabouts. I'm not saying we got a nickel and dime everything, but at least let's have some respect for one another. It started differently in the beginning. So what has been changing, little changes that begin to happen along the way. And sometimes we ignore these changes. And now these things that we once ignored is now become a mountain. Now it really becomes a challenge in comparison to what it really should be. By the way, there's some folks that need to stop blaming God for where they were at, because blaming God for the situation that you're in. God couldn't have shouted any louder to you and says, no, this is not the man for you. No, this is not the woman for you. She is a good woman, but she's not going to make a good wife. He is a good man, but he's not going to make a good husband. And sometimes we ignore these intuition. We ignore these calling that we feel. We ignore that. Even others that might have even mentioned a few things, but we ignore that. Why? Because we felt, or you felt, that love would cover everything. I've always said, when a person get married, if there's some red flags there and some things that you feel that, what, I don't really like this, but when I get married, maybe that can change. Or when I get married, maybe I can change him. Absolutely not. You have a decision to make with that attitude that person have. Either if he changes, great. If he doesn't change, that's all right too. But as the year goes by, what you thought you could put up with, now it becomes like a thorn in the flesh. Now it begins to irritate you. And what you thought you could put up with, because you were so in love, you overlook a lot of things. You ignored, amen, the signs and everything else that was going on. But I'm here to tell you, this is where you're at. So now how can you make it work? There's an interesting passage in the Bible where the children of Israel came to the Red Sea. Many of you know that story. They came to the Red Sea. Why? Because Pharaoh was chasing them and they were coming out of Egypt because God was delivering them. They came to the Red Sea, my Lord. So they have a challenge. There was a blockage. How in the world am I going to get across? Well, guess what? God didn't remove the Red Sea, but what did he do? He divided the Red Sea. And so that way they could walk through it, not over it, not under it, but they walked through what was trying to stop them from getting to the other side. There are some situations that you might be in right now that God just don't want you to turn your back and just to run. But there's some things that you are going to have to go through. And if you're decided to go through whatever that is, then I can guarantee you that he'll give you the strength. He will give you the energy. He will give you the faith to believe that if you make a way, then I can go through it, rather than just turning back and just running back to the comfort zone. He made a way for them that they could walk through it, but not just walk, but they were walking on dry land. It wasn't muddy, it wasn't slushy. He still made it comfortable for them to walk through it. Married, but living like you're still single. Somebody's not paying attention to their spouse. Somebody's being disrespectful to their spouse. You're talking to the individual like you're talking to a random stranger outside. This is not a random stranger in front of you. This is your wife. This is your husband. Sometimes it gets so annoying that as somebody once said, just the breathing alone within the house when you come near me upset me. What has been going on? What is going on? You're married, but you're living like you're single. You're married, but the single life, the single mindset is still there, where you're living like you're still out in the world. But you got to remember, you made a commitment when you stood before that altar. You said, I do. You said for better or for worse. Well, guess what? This could be the worst. You said for richer or for poorer. Maybe some of you said, because there's so many different vows out there, but you might have said for richer or for poorer. Well, guess what? Maybe this is poorer now, but it doesn't mean it's a time to disengage. Doesn't mean it's a time to win, to run, but how can we make this work? So if you're feeling this way, as of all the examples I just gave you, that you're married, but you're feeling like you're still single, then it's a time now for some heartfelt, vulnerable conversation where the rubber has to meet the road. Is it possible that with this single mindset, is it possible because of the friends that you are associating yourself with? They don't have a marriage mindset. They talk about the marriage like it's something that's not healthy. They talk about marriage that, man, this is something that you don't want to get into. Like, is it possible the social environment that you're around is depleting what you feel or what you already have on the inside? And you know what? When you're married, there's just some friends you may not be able to keep around, depends on what mindset that they have, because they could impact your relationship of how you and what you want to be. You got to give priority to, you know what, this is the individual that I have married. I am going to give them priority. When we give each other when we prioritize each other in our life, that single mindset will be obsolete. It's not something that will even show up. Why? Because everything we're doing everything together. Yes, you will have your space. I will have my space. Yes, there's times you can go out with the boys and have fun, and I can go out with the girls and have fun. But at the same time, we're not living like we're single individuals. We're still married. We have a married mindset. From marriage to work, we've heard that many know. You said, if you get married, you got to put 100% in, and I got to put 100% in. Well, sometimes just because of life, no, my commitment will always be 100%. But sometimes in life, just the way things go and the situation that comes, there might be a time I might not be able to put in 100%. I might only be able to give 60%, maybe because of my health or whatever's happening in our life. I might be only give 60%. I might not be able to give that full 100% now, but that's where the other party come up with the 40%. So we're still in this together. We don't just leave them with the 60% and make fun of the 60% that they have, but we contribute now the 40%. So now we're back in this thing together. Life happens. And the mindset is that we're here together to support one another. I didn't marry you to feel like I am single. I married you because I want to feel like I am in a marriage. Marriage people have fun together. Married people share their dreams together. Married people have goals that we encourage one another and support one another in our goals. Marriage people, they love without fear. They communicate without feeling muzzled. So you may be asking yourself, so what's the fix? Well, all those other points I just mentioned, you just turn that around into the positive light, and the fix is right there if you truly, really want to fix what we talked about. Change is going to require effort. Every change required effort. Every individual that's successful in life, in business, there have been some challenges. There has been some failures in their life, but guess what? They overcame those fears. They overcame those challenges. What are you going to do to get back to where you need to do, to where you need to be? It all starts back with mindfulness and communication and that present moment awareness. Stop shaming and blaming again, and use the communication skills that you're going to get from the help that you're going to get as you journey through this life. I am Bonitto Grange, a relationship and life coach. I hope that I've inspired somebody to get back into the ring, somebody to change your mindset, somebody to stop feeling like they're married but living single, but they have those heartfelt communication. You can check out my website at www.tlcbonittogrange.com. I'm here to serve and to help you enjoy the life that you want so that you can have more of what you want and less of what you don't want. You have an amazing, wonderful weekend day wherever you are. We're in this together. So let's journey together.